afternoon, everyone. I'm Christy Taffy with Interchange, and we'd like to welcome you all today to the Yankton County Commission Republican Primary Election Forum. And thank you to all of our candidates for attending today. And to start off our meeting, we always start with the pledge, so I invite you all to stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I want to take an opportunity and introduce our candidates that we have here today. Chris Barkle, Ryan Heine, Bruce Jensen, Dan Flemish, and John Markart. Butch Becker was not able to be here today. So the format of our election forum, if you haven't attended one of our previous forums, we will give the opportunity to the candidates to have a 2-minute opening statement, and we will rotate down the line. So for the candidates, just when you're done, pass it to the next person. John, when you finish, pass it up, and Chris will take his turn after you. And following the opening statements, we'll have questions, and you'll have a minute and a half to answer those questions. Sheila Gupta right there is our official timer. So she will give you a little bit of a heads up, kind of hold her hands up when you're getting close to your time limit, and then she will do a full wave you off when time is in. So with that, we will. Oh yes, I will address that. Let's keep it standing. It'll be more not standing. You think I know? This is our fourth one. I should be good at this. We're gonna just remain sitting. That way, it's less moving around for all of you, and then we can just keep the forum going. So with that, I will invite Chris to start at that microphone, and we'll give you 2 minutes to do your opening statement.
All right, thanks. I'm Chris Barkle. I'm thankful for the opportunity to talk to everyone here today about why I'm running for County Commission. A little bit about me. I grew up just west of Yankton on a farm with my parents where we raised corn and beans, wheat, and raised at times pigs and now just cattle. And after graduating from Yankton High School, I went on to USC where I got a bachelor's and a master's in accounting. That's also where I met my wife, who is now a high school math teacher in Irene. Currently, I guess I'm a licensed CPA, and I have my own tax preparation business that keeps me busy in the wintertime, and then I still farm full time with my family. And I guess I think that I have a lot of experience that I can bring to the table. For the last several years, I've served on the Planning and Zoning Commission here in Yankton. I'm also on the board of directors of Tabor Lumber Co-op in Tabor, which predominantly serves as Bonham and Yankton County farmers and rural residents. With that experience, I think that I'm ready to step into County Commission, and I hope I can convince everyone here today to give me their vote. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Ryan Heine. I was born here in Yankton. I grew up just across the river in St. Helena, Nebraska. I graduated from Cedar Catholic, then went on to St. Louis University, where I got a degree in physics and a degree in electrical engineering. Spent 20 years working for civilian as a civilian for contracting for the government in space, defense, and intelligence industries. I currently am full-time employed with a company in Minneapolis, Minnesota that I work remotely for. It was this experience that I've been able to have the lucky ability to just choose wherever I want to live, and I chose Yankton, and because it is my home. My wife and I, we moved here in 2014. She brought up her business from Omaha, Counterfeit Catering, and we started our own farm, 6th Meridian Hot Farm. something a little bit different and bring something special to Yankton. We have 5 kids, and 3 of them are off and graduated and on to college and jobs, and 2 are still at home and they go to Sacred Heart. And I am happy to serve Yankton, and I'm really hoping that, on the county commission, that I can bring some detailed analysis and skills in really diving into issues and building systems, and a level-headed and logical and reasoned look at issues. I think it's very key that we have transparency and always look at the facts.
Good afternoon, I appreciate being here today. My name is Bruce Jensen. Thank you for sponsoring this event and inviting the candidates to discuss our position on many issues that county commissioners must deal with. More communication is very important. If elected, I will work to find opportunities to create more communication with the people of Yankton County. I have lived in Yankton County all my life, graduated in Yankton High School and Yankton College. I worked in the grocery and advertising rep. My public service includes 9 years as Yankton City Commissioner and 12 years as a Yankton County Commissioner. During these 21 years, I supported the Summit Center project, the new county administration building, the new county safety center, and the new county highway shop. I believe in controlling spending, looking at new approaches that will save our tax dollars and stay conservative for decisions. I insist on that tax increase such as bond issues and opt-outs be put on a public vote. Let's work together to tighten the tax burden on our citizens. Living in Yankton County allows us to all enjoy a wonderful quality of life. This is admired by many. But this is to continue, we need to control the number of hog barns in Yankton County. I work to protect the citizens of Yankton County. More hog barns will harm our quality of life. Do you want to live near a hog barn? I hope the other candidates will join me in opposing more hog barns. Today I'm asking for your vote. I am the candidate that will be watchdog against increased taxes and it's more hog barns. Let's have a great quality of life and a quality of life that we can afford. Thank you.
Hello everybody, my name is Dan Klemish. I'm your actively serving county commissioner elected in 2018. For those of you who don't know me, I am a 6th generation farmer. I'm a combat veteran. I've served multiple overseas tours of duty and a proud recipient of the Bronze Star for my actions in Iraq, which is one of our nation's highest awards. My family has a long and proud history in Yankton County. We homesteaded here in the 1880s, and we've never left. Why would we? Yankton is an amazing community, and something that I always knew but discovered as my time as a county commissioner. It's great because of the citizens that we have here. It's an absolute wonderful group of people. I have deep roots here, spanning 6 generations, and I'm really proud of that. We've had a lot of hard struggles in the last 3 years I've been on here, dealing with record flooding and a pandemic. And I'm not a perfect person, but I get up every day and do the best that I can for our community in Yankton. And I appreciate an opportunity to serve another 4 years. Thank you.
Hi, my name is John Marquardt, and I want to also thank you for inviting us here to explain our situations. I was born in a small area, agriculture area in Clayton, South Dakota. developed small town values. My parents owned a little general store, so stocking shelves and serving customers at a very young age was my forte. I worked for several area farmers also, picking rocks, shocking grain, fixing fence, and any other chores that they could think of that they could push off onto myself. Living up in Clayton, growing up close to Milltown, South Dakota, if anyone here knows where that's at, Island Park Ballroom. One special Friday night while Johnny Holmes was on stage, I met my wonderful wife, Gail. Gail and I have 3 wonderful children and 1 extraordinary granddaughter. Lindsay and her husband Keith and her granddaughter Ilya live in San Francisco, California. Jessica and her husband Ty live in New Braunfels, Texas. My son Kyle and his wife Kristen live in Harrisburg, South Dakota. At a young age, I started playing fast pitch softball, and after I was done with that, I became an umpire. Umpires are known for their quick and accurate calls. In fact, the average umpire is correct with his calls 95.6% of the time. I consider myself above average. After high school, I started working at Trail King Industries in Metro, South Dakota, manufacturing semi-trailers. Worked through, for 15 years I was there doing everything from sub-assembly to customer service. And I would like to see that's my cue, so I will appreciate your vote come June 7th. Thank you.
Okay, the next question, we will start with Ryan Heine. What qualifications or abilities do you have that would benefit the citizens of Yankton County?
Well, okay. All right. So first off, I think one thing that sets me apart is I do have quite a bit of education, but really that's just a foundation. The one thing you've learned in physics and electrical engineering is that there's always more to learn, and it's just a foundation of how to learn and how to deal with situations going forward. Building systems, working with people has been something I've been doing for more than 20 years. And I think in these groups that I've always worked in, we never look for leaders because sometimes leadership brings in too many egos. A lot of times you have to throw those egos aside and put your assumptions forward and really look at the facts and what you can do with the resources you have at hand. And so those are the type of teams I hope to build among my fellow commissioners and through the employees of Yankton County, so that we can find the most efficient, cost-effective ways of serving the core services that we need to provide to the citizens of the county. And so I feel like that is one of the first things. The other thing that really is that I love Yankton County. I could have lived anywhere in the world, and I chose Yankton because this is where my heart is. So.
Well, I have a lot of common sense, and I've had a lot of experience in the city and how the budget works, and in the county, 12 years. And all I'm saying is that as taxpayers, we got to be careful of new taxes. We're being taxed to death right now. Look at the cost of living, utilities, car gas. I can go on and go on. Interest rates are going up on houses. It's a tough deal. What's affordable housing? You got a definition? I really don't. I don't think we have much affordable housing in Yankton right now. When you're looking at $3,000 to $4,000, $100,000 houses, that's not affordable. And when it comes right down to it, you got to have common sense. You got to look at all issues, and you got to be transparent, and you have to be truthful with the public. If you lie to them, they'll get you back the next time. You never lie to them. If you're going to do what you're going to do and say, you better do it. So I like Yankton. I love Yankton, and my experience through the county and the city I learned how to work with budgets, and also things that you think you know you don't know. And it's just good education for everybody, and I enjoy it so much. And plus I can do it full time when I'm retired, so I just enjoy politics. Hopefully you're rolling.
Could you repeat the question for me, please?
What qualifications or abilities do you have that would benefit the citizens of Yankton County?
Well, first qualification is I'm a currently serving commissioner, so with me, there'll be no downtime. I'll be able to hit the ground running for you in January and continue the service that I've done. No matter who you are, if it's a new position, there is a ton to learn as a county commissioner. And we've had to learn that. It takes a good couple years before you fully understand it, and there's more that you learn each and every day. In addition, I have a long history of service to Yankton County. I served for nearly 10 years on the James River Water Development District Board and 7 as chairman. And during that time, I didn't raise taxes 1 cent on the citizens of Yankton County. And we did that by making routine things routine. Additionally, I've served for 5 years on the Yankton County Planning Commission, and I have been elected by my fellow county commissioners at the state level to the South Dakota Association of County Commissioners Executive Board. I'm really honored to do that and have Yankton County have representation on our state board, and it gives me direct access to our legislatures. One example, the rural infrastructure access, where the townships are getting $25 million. I helped that project come to fruition. Those are my qualifications.
So qualifications I've got, I've managed and dealt with at one time 175 semi trucks and drivers. Transparency with 175 truck drivers is very important to them because they'll think of one thing one day, they'll think of another thing the next. Also, another qualification I've got is I've been a leader at St. John's Lutheran Church for several years. I was a leader, congregational president through the arson fire that took place there in 2009. I've also led the congregation through some good times as St. John's won in 2011 won the Employers Support of the Guard and Reserves Freedom Award. Got the opportunity to go to Washington, D.C. to accept that award on behalf of St. John's. Also got them through the COVID pandemic, a ministry change, preschool, and staff transitions. I feel those are the qualifications that is needed to lead Yankton County into the next generation.
I believe that some of my qualifications, through my educational background at USD, I was not only interested in accounting, I also was interested in small business and growing businesses. I was involved in a lot of business planning competitions at the state and at the national level. Through the Department of Energy, I actually placed 3rd in the nation with business planning. And also with my accounting background, I believe that gives me unique insight into developing budgets and spending and taxes, since that's what I deal with on a day-to-day basis. And that also gives me the ability to read and interpret and apply different laws, regulations. Serving on the Planning Commission has also given me the experience at the county level of how to interpret and apply, particularly the zoning ordinances. Also, being involved in agriculture on a day-to-day basis, I have that connection with the ag community and have a unique perspective coming from there. And then not only that, but in my own business, preparing taxes, I don't service just farms. I do small businesses and retirees, so I think it's important skill that I have to be able to listen respectfully and understand people and where they're coming from, a common sense and level.
Okay, the next question will start with Bruce Jensen. In your opinion, what are the top 3 priorities for Yankton County?
I think the top 3 are, like I mentioned before, increasing taxes. People are at the end of their rope as far as middle income. Taxes is the number 1. Number 2, zoning. Zoning's a big deal because it can screw up the whole lives of people out in the county. And we just have to look at different like setbacks, acreage, go back to an acre to build a house now. It's 20-acre rule. It's ridiculous. And going back to zoning, the lake area, we got to protect that. We have to protect that as a diamond in the rock. We can't give that up with anything. And I'm not against egg, and never been against egg, but I'm against hog confinements and the big. And the average farmer in Yankton, South Dakota, we got approximately 532 family farms in Yankton County. They don't like them either. It's tough for them too. So I think those are the basic 3 things. And the number 1 thing is right now is the taxes, raising the taxes. We can't do that anymore. People can't afford it anymore. Thank you.
Top 3 issues that the county is gonna face in the next 4 years at least, I'd say is in order: infrastructure, our roads and bridges, housing, and then budgeting. And I'll start out with our infrastructure. Our roads and bridges are in serious disrepair. They're getting better. I personally led efforts to replace over 10 county bridges and 70 culverts with our highway department. When we took over our highway department in 2019, almost everything was contracted out. During my time on the commission, we got a county paver that our mechanics repaired and fixed up, and we got an excavator. So instead of hiring these projects out for 2 or 3 or 4 times the dollar, and when the contractor decided to show up, we're doing these projects ourselves. And right now, in the last week, we're tearing with our excavator, we're tearing out several county bridges north of town here and saving the county $15,000 each by doing it ourselves. And we're doing it when it's convenient for us. So that's something that's taken place that I'm pretty proud of. Housing, it's an issue. We all know this. There aren't a lot of areas left in the lake where housing is an option. We're gonna have to do plan. We talk about zoning and planning, we do zoning, but we never plan. Where is the future growth of Yankton gonna happen? And the budget, inflation's going up, not as fast as taxes. It's gonna be a problem and we're gonna have to address it.
Top 3 in my mind are protecting and the family farms. Family farms are, in my mind, are the top priority in this county. We need to support them, figure out a way to keep the farms going. Second would be economic development in the county. The city is thriving with their economic development. We also need to figure out a way to get some of that economics into the county's coffers. Also, like Dan mentioned, roads and bridges. I traveled out in the countryside quite a bit in the last month and a half. They're definitely improving, but there's definitely some work that could be done to those. Also, the housing, I think there's housing that can be developed in the county areas also, and we need to figure out a way to make that happen.
I think one of the biggest issues that we face, again, is zoning. And I think that it's important that we try to keep in check the balance between trying to punish one particular industry or another and keep them out, and then also balancing protecting the public or allowing people to do what they want to do with their own lands. And I think that in the past this has caused a lot of conflict in the county, and I think that can be resolved a lot by listening to the people and what they actually want and need. And then I think also one of the big problems we're going to face in the future is infrastructure again, from leading from our budgets being depleted or not having enough money to service what we have. We have to be thoughtful of where we apply our resources and what to do in the future. And then also, I think that promoting economic development and responsible housing expansion out in the county and looking at areas where we can do that without causing conflict amongst neighbors and different uses.
So the first thing I think of, and is an issue now, is we need to have the county operate with clear, concise rules and rule of law. We have to watch out about these conditions and all these variations that we're doing as we have all these developments happening. One set of rules for one guy, another set of rules for another guy. We cannot have good development. It really hinders development when you just don't know what your rules are going to be from year to year. And so the first issue is to really have good, clear, transparent rules and laws. Second, inflation is real, and it's going to hit our budget. It's going to hit our county, and that's going to cause a lot of hard decisions to be made. Some people might not be happy with some because, like I said, we cannot just bank on more tax revenue to cover things. So there's probably going to be some hard decisions to make, and it's going to really get down, and it's going to require getting down into the facts and the details and trying to know exactly where the best investments are to be made. And then the last thing is infrastructure. The county roads we have lots of bridges, we have lots of roads that are disrepaired, but there's also some things where we have developments that are going on that don't quite follow the rules, or they build roads that are going to cause problems in the future, and we just gotta avoid those things. And those are freebies.
Okay, Dan, finish. Dan Clemish will start with this next question. Recently, the Yankton County Commission heard the results of a sanitary sewer district study. What are your thoughts on this project and the county's role in it?
Well, we've been hearing complaints over the last 3 years. This is nothing new. I believe the first study happened in 2008. It's needed out there, but how are we going to pay for it? And what is the county's role? I was able to secure 2 separate grants to do this study, one from our ARPA funds and one from the James River Water Development District, to study this problem, because it is a problem. And it was at zero cost to the county budget. Why wouldn't we study it? If we know we have a problem, let's research it like any person should. So we researched it, and we found out that the overall cost is pretty significant. But if you break it down, I'll give you one example, the Highway 52 commercial corridor that would go from basically Chalkstone Hill to Deer Boulevard, the cost is around $5 million, which sounds like a lot, it really does. But if you consider that South Dakota handed out $660 million and received over $1 billion this year alone for infrastructure, wastewater infrastructure, it is very doable. And can you imagine how that would promote economic growth, development, get a hotel up there or a large business that wants to keep our tourism going year round instead of just a few months a year. So it's something that has to be done. And the fate of Yankton County and the city of Yankton County lays in the lake area.
I also studied that report, and I'm kind of in agreement with Dan. If we build that project in temporary or smaller chunks, it can be very beneficial to the county and also to the lake area. I'm not saying that we need to go to work and ignore other areas also that need some of that kind of support also. But yes, I think it's definitely something that we need to look at and study even deeper than the report that we've gotten from the consultants that did this.
I think that the study that was done was interesting, and I think that the issue that we're going to have is with a sanitary district is people aren't necessarily going to want to vote themselves a high bill to pay every month when they have things that are working now. So that's something to consider in the future, because the county doesn't just service the lake area, and we have more to consider than just that. And if we're going to bite off and spend millions of dollars, is it the best area to spend it in, or should we use it for other infrastructure that's in need? I think that is worth looking at, and that we would have to have some kind of concrete examples of the economic development that could be had there, and the kind of return on investment that we would have from those dollars, since it is such a large project. And I think that has to be weighted against other options in the county, because that's not the only place, there's no end of places that you can spend money in the county.
So I got to have the fortune to sit into that meeting and listen to the whole presentation, and it was very interesting. I had a lot of questions about it too, and I felt there was some, possibly even a lot more study that could be done, in the sense that it had some very big assumptions in there. It also can lead to some very big bills for taxpayers if it's not done right. I mean, we have sort of this pie in the sky thing that, oh, we're going to get a bunch of development if we put it in, but we can't make our assumptions on that. You know, that's what happens when that doesn't happen, or those things do not come into fruition, because we are in this case of inflation, and it could be a recession. There's a lot of unstable economics right now, so it's not, maybe not time now, but it is also one of those cases where maybe it is. You know, we got to look into, can we make the right investment now, and does the taxpayers get that return on investment in terms of, and when we see a return on investment for taxpayers, that's you want to see reduced burden on the taxpayers, you know. So that's another thing to consider. The last thing is that, you know, it is going to have to be up to the people down there, and at the study as it is now, it's $300 per person. I don't think anyone's going to be doing that every month, especially with inflation and everything.
Well, when I was on the commission back, we had a study done, and there's no way in the world that people out there are gonna vote for it. Cause I'll tell you, like Riverside Acres, most of the people out there cannot afford it, and they won't pay it. They got their own septic tanks, and I'm not saying, you know, down the road we might have to, but you just can't jump into a project as huge as that. Plus, the lift stations we're gonna have to bring it to our Yankton area, that was cost prohibitive too at that time. Even the businesses, to hook up to them, it's tough to have business out there all year round that would produce enough to make that big investment. And I'd just like to give you one example. A bridge out at the Flea Market bridge out there. When we were on the commission, we put $1.5 million in there for a fund. You gotta set up funds. You gotta pre-plan. You gotta know what you're gonna do. And religiously, you have to put money away in that budget every year, because if you do that and apply for federal funds, they're gonna see that you're interested in doing that. And the last thing I'd like to say is that $1.5 million that was in the Fleet's Bridge fund was taken out and given to the city for West City Limits Road, and we have plenty of money
Okay,
to
thank
do
you.
that. So I'm just saying, don't abuse it.
Okay, we'll start with John Marquardt for this question. What are 2 to 3 strengths of the Yankton County Commission, and are there areas of improvement?
I think the strengths of the Yankton County Commission at present time are that they are very conscious of what is going on in the county. It may not be pleasant, but they're sitting there listening and doing what they can to possibly fix the situation. There's always room for improvement. Roads, zoning and ordinance, I haven't mentioned that to this point yet, but there's definitely improvements that need to be done on how the ordinances are handled and how they're produced. The second thing that I think needs to be addressed that they could definitely do better is the economic development for the county of Yankton. I don't see a lot of improvement or ability going out to look for businesses or ways to increase revenue. It's very easy, or it's not easy, but it's easy to say that we just need to raise taxes. Well, that's not the way to raise revenue for the county. So when I'm elected, I would certainly look at and work with other organizations to bring businesses into the county also.
I think one strength of the current county commission is that they seem to go into depth into most of the issues, which is a good thing. Brings about a lot of information and things to consider. I think that an area that could be improved upon is basically the respect for people that come with different opinions to meetings and hearing them out and giving them their say, because that's ultimately part of what county commission is there for, is an outlet for the people to speak through. I think also that we need to improve on how we use our funds and what we do with it, as far as where we apply fixes for infrastructure or where we're going to invest money for economic development.
Well, I think one of the strengths of our commission is, as well as that they do seem to get a lot of details out, and they do seem to be listening, and we do have a lot of different views on the county commission. One of the problems we do have is that we don't always have the same set of rules for every person that comes in through the doors, and that's creating problems and issues and lawsuits. And the lawsuits are ridiculous, because that's just taxpayer money being wasted when we have more and more lawsuits against the county and against people. So we should be trying to promote more harmony among our county residents, rather than making decisions that ignore facts and ignore things simply because the county feels that it's not their problem. So those things concern me a lot when those type of decisions are made. I think once you get a group together, I think the county commission does work pretty well together as a group, and I really would look forward to working together in the county commission group as well.
First of all, we have a lot of good things about it, but we have bad things too. When I was on there, you gotta be careful, and I see it now when you have open meetings, when chairman says to the people that have a right to speak on what issue it is, whether you agree with it or not, don't matter, you have to listen to it. Have an open mind on it, but tell them to sit down and shut. Basically, that's the way our meetings are run sometimes. You can't do that to the public, they have a right. Number two is, you have all this different ideas that people have. Backdoor meetings here. We've known that, I've known that too, even with this commission. There's one or two people that will control it. They have meetings in the back room. they know exactly what they're gonna do when you get out there. You can't do that, you gotta be open government, you gotta be transparent. So, yeah, we have major problems, and if we don't get a handle on them, it's just gonna get worse, and we're gonna have more problems. But we gotta be truthful, no lying to each other, especially on the board. Go out and do your own agenda, I don't think so. I don't agree with that, I never have and never will. So, I just think that we have to do a better job, and when it comes to the meetings, we just have to respect the citizens of James County.
I believe some of the things that are going right, government transparency. I personally led an initiative in 2019 to have not one, but two public comment periods. One at the beginning of the meeting and one at the end. So citizens could come in and address the commission about issues they were having. And we were recognized nationally by the National Association of County Officials for being one of the first counties to do that. And I'm not aware of another board in the state that has two public comment periods. And I'm pretty proud of that for government transparency. Additionally, we live stream all our meetings on Facebook and YouTube. So you can attend in person if you'd like. You can attend via Zoom and even speak via Zoom. And you can watch it on Facebook. That's transparency that we can all be proud of. Something else I'm pretty proud of is we got almost a $4 million grant to replace Stone Church Bridge in the northwest corner of our state. We got nearly 20% of all the bridge improvement dollars in the state to replace this bridge over the James River. It'll be the first new bridge in almost 60 years over the James River, and I'm glad to say I had an important part of that on the executive board for the state of South Dakota. I got to meet these people and say, this is a problem and we need to solve it. And so I think things are going well. There's always things we can improve on, and I'm willing to approve and always listen.
Currently, there is development occurring near the lake of camper and permanent camping facilities. What is your opinion of this, and is this the best development or use for this area?
So right now, I currently live right amongst all these campgrounds, and I've heard lots of opinions on them. And I guess generally, the opinions I hear about them are not high. Personally, living next to them, I don't think that they're that big of a problem as long as they're run efficiently and that they look nice and follow the rules and all that. I think that the issue becomes, in the future, what are we doing to address them as far as infrastructure? I know that there's electrical problems, not being able to carry enough electrical load to all these campers, and then there's going to be growing issues as far as any kind of sewer treatment for all these, and then also we have the increased loads on our roads and all the other infrastructure down there from increased amount of people down there. I guess I'm not a big believer in trying to regulate what everybody does with their own land, so if private people want to buy their land and invest in it the way that they see fit, I'm in favor of that, and as long as it's responsible and follows the set rules. Going forward, I think that we need to have more public discussion about what to do with this, since it is a growing concern down there, and maybe it's something we need to address through zoning or other means in the future.
So, I also live right next to campgrounds, in the lake area, and these campgrounds are, they are an opportunity for the county to bring in more tourists, and, however, when we, create different sets of rules for different campgrounds, it turns into a little bit of a fight around down there, and we do have some people who are disgruntled. It is also a burden to all the residents in the area, because the roads on the weekends in the summer, they get very heavily utilized. The infrastructure down there, the water, the power, there's lots of lots of things that have been coming up with other problems, issues with B-wide water lines that have easements that have been violated and things like that. And so that's one of the problems is that when you look at a conditional use permit, it says to the number in an area, and we've not been paying attention to that. The other thing about it is that these campgrounds, as they are built, they're not really addressed in our zoning code at all. And so that's something that we should probably remedy, given that we have so many, and so that way we do have a clear set of rules for them.
My opinion on Lake area is, it's a hodgepodge of stuff that is out there. Like you talked about sewer areas, so you need business out there. Businesses would not want to go out there when there's hodgepodge of everything you can think of out there. We have to be more careful who we let in there. And I heard that there's gonna be another 30 to 40 trailers gonna be moved in down in the lake area, so you gotta watch out. Codes, you gotta watch out for the sanitary system and all that, because it's just a problem. And you drive along the corridor there, all it is, I'm sorry, I have people that live up on the hill up there, doctors and stuff, they don't like it down there because it's all these campers that are coming down there, and they say, well, what it's doing, it's ruining the area that should be a diamond in our area. And like for instance, as far as businesses go, you can't even let a grocery store in this town. They say no. I mean, down there by the gas station, that could have been sold for $300,000, got sold for $100,000. So Yankton's a bad place to try to get business in. This is all controlled.
Ma'am, would you repeat the question for me, please?
Currently, there is development occurring near the lake of camper and permanent camping facilities. What is your opinion on this, and is this the best development or use for this area?
I think this really goes back to the question that we had before about the sanitary district. And if we're not gonna move it forward, what else can we have out there besides campers and storage units? You can't have housing developments without a sanitary district. So if we either have to decide, do we want development to happen, or do we want a sanitary district to happen? If we want development to happen, we're gonna need a sanitary district. And if we're gonna say no to everything being built out there, then you're gonna have campgrounds and storage units and bare fields and no place for housing to go. Housing's a real issue in this community, and one of the negative things that does is when housing prices go up, your assessments go up, which your property taxes then go up, and Manitou, we're getting a big expansion. Where are those people gonna live? Where are the workers gonna live? Is a $350,000 house, is that gonna be likely that somebody moving into the community is gonna have as a starter home? Pretty unlikely. So this goes back to really the role, and something that I've tried to take a leadership on, is the future planning and the future development of Yankton County. And really that goes hand in hand with the city and working together for long-term solutions.
The camper parks and trailer house park down at the lake area, the river area is, in my opinion, a waste of the property that we have there. I understand that those people have been there and they have the right to build what they want to build on that property. However, through the zoning ordinances, I think we need to take a look at those. And like Dan said, we're just going to create an issue with the sewer and the wastewater down there if we allow too much more building like that going on. There's plenty of places other than down at the lake for housing and campsites to be built. Yankton County has been blessed with the territory that they have, the closeness to the Missouri River, the highways that service the area. So I just feel there's other places where some of those campsites could be built and established. Housing, yes, we need to have more housing. Is that the area for housing to be done? I'm not sure. That's when I'm commissioner, I'll do more studying on that also.
The city of Yankton and Yankton County have collaborated successfully on past projects. Are there other collaborations that you can think of that would benefit both parties?
Well, the sewer district, I believe that Yankton, the city of Yankton and the county of Yankton can really benefit with a lot more close coordination with the lake area, just to develop that tourism and that connection of tourism between the lake area and the downtown Meridian district and some of the new, and the revivals of the downtown Yankton. And I think when you can tie those things together where the city of Yankton can benefit from all of our visitors, and then also give our lakeside visitors all a lot more to do. I think it just will benefit everyone. The other case is also with housing. Lakeside area might not be the best area for housing simply because of the value of the land on there, but there's probably a lot of other areas around Yankton that could be very beneficial to being considered for housing and stuff. So that's another place where the city and the county can work together.
Could you repeat the question again, please?
The city of Yankton and Yankton County have collaborated successfully on past projects. Are there other collaborations that you can name that would benefit both parties?
Well, just like I mentioned before, get more business in the Yankton County. You think that we had a grocery store down there. Look at all the revenue we lost, taxes we lost, sales tax, everything. It's just in that business. Look at the mall. We need the businesses from taxes and revenue. As far as working with the city, like I said, the city is run by a few of the old regime. This town should have been 30,000-40,000 by now. And we're not growing much. Yeah, we're building houses, not affordable, and it's just we're not working well with the city. And I'm sorry, I was on the city, and when I was on the city, we knew water and sewer was going to come here. Charlie Gross and I always voted to put it in the line item, and we had money put away. And then the people came in and say, no, we don't want to do that project. So they took the money out. Now they have no money. And that's the problem. Take the money out of the line items that you have budgeted for. It doesn't work. So, no, we got to do better between the city and the county to have economic development, because otherwise we're just going to be dead in the water like we are right now. We haven't grown at all.
As a currently serving county commissioner, I serve on the city-county joint planning board, and I've had several officials say that the relationship between the city and county is the best it's ever been. And I'm proud of that, and I'll give you some examples. So the county had some tax deed properties that people quit paying taxes on 20 years ago, and they were sitting all around the community, abandoned, full of raccoons and people breaking in and doing drugs in them. And the city, before my time, the city and county went back and forth fighting about it. Well, you should pay for it. You should pay for it. I'm glad to say I got to sit down with the city, and we figured out a solution, and this county donated to the city. They bulldozed it down, and now those lots are being developed. That was a problem for 20 years that I was able to help solve to move the county forward. In addition, during my time on our emergency management department, remember the flood in 2019? Our emergency management department worked with the county and the city and everybody, and we evacuated people out of Walnut Village, out of the flooding, working together. our ambulance, working with the police department and emergency management and everybody to save lives. So it is going well. Yeah, sure, it could always be better, but our emergency management department and ambulance are working every single day for our community to make it better for our citizens.
Ways that the city and the county could work better together than they already do is, I think there's an opportunity to evaluate to where the city people, the employees can work better with the county employees. Maybe there's some cross trainings that can be going on there. We live right next door to one another. It's a little bit different than Yankton County working with the city of Lesterville, traveling back and forth that way. So I think there's definitely a way that the city and the county could work better together. This winter when we had our one and only snowfall, I was driving down West Sealaments Road and the county truck was driving north with his blade up in the air, and there's 6 inches of snow on West Sealaments Road. Those kind of things need to be addressed, and there's no reason that truck couldn't put his blade down and cleaned off the east side of that road so that people driving have a better opportunity to on a clear road instead of one that's covered with snow. So, and that's just one idea or one thought and I'm sure there's several more that once I get elected I will address between the city and the county.
I think that cooperation between the city of Yankton and the county is very important, mainly just because the city of Yankton being the largest population center in the county is requiring a lot of services and most of the economic development and everything in the county is centered around Yankton. With that being said, I think that it's important that anything that the county decides to do, whether it's something like these big picture items of a sanitary district, has to be in cooperation with the city, because in reality the city is going to gain the most benefit out of it from a tax standpoint and from the population moving into this area. And I think that there's also a lot of common sense ideas on little things like sharing services that can be done and continued throughout the county and the city. And just having that open dialogue between both parties is important. And at the same time, I think that it's also important that the county doesn't forget that we also have other communities in the county to take care of, and that the city of Yankton is just the largest and one of them.
We'll move on to closing statements. You'll have a minute and a half for a closing statement.
Well, I appreciate everybody that came today, and I'd work very hard if I get elected. Like I said, I've been there, done that. So I've learned a lot. I still got a lot to learn. If you think you can learn a lot in a 1 year or 2 years, you don't. You learn something new every day. If we don't learn something new every day, we're not even. So I just hope that you'll vote for me. And like I said, we got to get a handle on this taxes, housing. We got a lot to do here in this community, like all communities do. And if we don't attack them as the right way, we're not going to grow. We're not going to be popular or get anything done. So I just thank you for having us here, and so we can express how we feel. Thank you.
I'd like to thank everybody for attending. You know, I'm certainly, like I said before, I'm not perfect, but I've worked hard for the citizens of Yankton County. I have perfect attendance. I've never missed a meeting. Some of the positive things that didn't get brought up, there was a lot of discussion about no economic development, but that's just not true. First off, we've had record building permit sales. Second off, right now we're in the process of doing economic development for East Side Drive for Growmark. That was a $600,000 economic development grant we received from the state to totally redo that road to help our ag industry and one of our local businesses. And that's something I had a part of and that I'm proud of. Third, small towns are growing for the first time in a long time. We have a new housing development coming to Gayville. We have several new houses being developed in Utica and new houses in Lesterville. And that hasn't happened for generations. And I'm glad to have a part in that. I've been in very close contact with all the small town mayors. I've attended at least one of their meetings and sat down and talked with them, and they know the county is there for any help that they can have. And again, I'm always willing to continue to listen and learn. Thank you.
Well, in July of 1995, my wife and I made a decision to move to Yankton, South Dakota. Probably one of the best decisions that we've ever made, other than getting married and having 3 children. Through that, moving to Yankton, I've gained a lot of experience in a lot of different things. Country, county, city life. I live in the city, but I actually have grown up in the county and appreciate everything that's been done here in Yankton and in the county of Yankton. There are definitely improvements that I'll be studying and would bring to the table. Also, with that, I'd like to thank you all for coming and listening to us sit up here and talk about what our intentions are, and also thank the Interchange and Thrive for putting this event on.
And like everybody else, I want to thank everybody for giving me the opportunity to speak here today. And I think it is a good forum to kind of hear our views and opinions. And I think in the future, if I were elected, I'm a quick learner, quick study, and I bring a lot of good things to the table and a lot of new ideas and new way of thinking instead of trying the same old things over and over. And I will work hard for the county as I do in everything I do. And I want to again thank everybody for hearing me out today.
Well, I also want to thank everyone for coming and listening to us drone on. I also want to thank my fellow candidates for coming out today too, because it's going to be three of us that are going to be joining the commission, and so it's really nice to hear what our future team could be for Yankton. Because if I'm elected, I will have to be working with them to build opportunities, to continue the economic development, to see that our county continues to grow, and that we are creating a county that is inviting and welcoming, and it's going to be one of the greatest places to live in South Dakota.
Right, on behalf of Yankton Thrive and Interchange, we thank you all for taking time today to put yourself in front of all of us for these questions, and all of you for attending. And just a reminder that the election is June 7th, and they all will be on that ballot.
Early voting is